Hi all, it's Vanessa Love and this is my channel. I used to say about the mental health field, but it's really about whatever I want. Okay, so there's like a couple of things that I've wanted to address, and so I thought that I would. So I heard the idea again that feminism is for equality. And this is one of those things that is just so hilarious to me. This is the reason why I haven't been in feminist spaces for a long time. I've been kicked out of most of them for caring too much about men. Sorry. It's such a funny thing because it's like, okay, but you care about equality, right? So why does it matter if I care too much about men? Which is, I mean, it's such a weird thing, right? Like you're for equality for all, except when it's not. Like that's so I don't know. So, and those type of things are exactly why people leave feminism. And I'm like, I don't know. I just consider myself a person at this point because I'm like, well, I mean, talking about feminism is like talking about politics. Like, are we having a discussion about like whether or not to publicly fund the roads in the library, or am I running for Senate? Like those things are about politics, but in two very different ways. Or are we talking about like having more buses or something, like what's the impact on the economy if we have more buses? You know, like that's politics. So like it's a wide spectrum, and like there are things where like some feminists are for like Sharia law, and kind of pushing for that because of respect of religious freedoms, or some people are for banning abortion so that men take more responsibilities for the crimes that they commit. That is an actual stance that was taken. I don't know. For me, it's a little backwards, but like it's still part of feminism, so it's still part of it. So I find a lot of things very weird about feminism, and like I know that feminists are probably pissed off right now because they're like, what? And one of the things that's really weird to me is this, like, we care about all genders, and it's like, but you don't. Like, what are feminists entirely doing to raise awareness or make life easier for men? Because like, and I already know the thought process. Men already have it easy. Okay, well, what about the suicide rate? What about the suicide rate? The response is always, but women try more often. Yeah, and men succeed. So what are we going to do? You can't make this into a woman's issue. This is a man's issue. So what are we going to do? What are you going to do about fathers' rights? What are you going to do about homelessness? Okay, there's plenty of programs for women and children, but what about men with children? Or what about men? Oh, do I now care too much about men? Is that not equality? I guess there's a certain way that you think about equality that is for all genders, but it's not actually for all genders because you don't care. We also don't talk about circumcision in the same way, and we don't talk about male prisoners having less time because they're fathers, or trying to do a little bit more for the programs to reunite male prisoners with their kids, which seems like that should be kind of a thing. I know that there's less female prisons, which shouldn't be a thing, but like, and with all of that, there's a lot of politics, like getting there and getting the kids there, but like, shouldn't there also be an effort for kids to visit their fathers in prison? All right, so someone has to explain to me entirely what equality for all looks like, because I have no fucking idea. And I also find it really weird that feminists will be like, you can't listen to anti-feminists. They don't know anything. Well, I think that you should know your enemy. I think you should know your enemy really well. I think that you should look up things that you don't agree with just so that you have a better idea as to what's going on in those spaces, so that you are not blindsided by some of the things that maybe could be a good discussion or a good thought. And what if you find something out that you actually agree with about feminism? Might be a thing. So, the other thing is that I was watching a video and it was just about like the history of this one word. And I'm not going to say it because like you can look it up, but like, you know, it was about this history of this one word and like this kind of fashion sense, this aesthetic. And then near the end of the video, it started getting really, really political, which was weird because before that it was very informative. It was like, here's the history of this, here's how this developed, here's how that developed, here's this thing. And then suddenly it was like, and I'm against traditional wives. And I was like, what? I've never heard just outright that feminists are against that the certain type of academic feminists who are like kind of gunning for communism don't like traditional wives. And there was even something about how traditional wives can't speak in public and they can't have politics and they don't know anything basically, and so they're not helping the system, which I'm like, if you are for communism, you do know that like you are giving the opportunity for people who believe in traditional values to have that lifestyle, right? Like you're okay with that, right? Because that's why you're doing this, right? Like you want, again, equality for all, and if it's equality for all, then that also means having a lifestyle that you may not agree with, right? Like you're okay with that, right? Because that's why you're doing this, right? It's like really weird to me. Anyway, so this person just went off about like traditional wives and how they can't be in politics. They are a part of the system. They're a part of the institution that oppressed them. And I'm like, okay, so you have to understand that the first 100 years of feminism, like it was mostly housewives. I don't know how to explain this to you that it was housewives, but it was housewives. Harriet Beecher Stowe could not speak in public. She wrote her speeches out and then handed them, I believe, off to her brother. Harriet Beecher Stowe met with Abraham Lincoln. She was not able to speak in public. She wrote a book. She was not able to speak in public. She had political influence because of Uncle Tom's Cabin. She was not allowed to speak in public. Consciousness raising groups in the 1970s took place in homes with housewives because they had to raise the consciousness of the housewives in order to understand how to like begin to have the platform to change, right? So it started with housewives. Also, I don't know what's wrong with the academics, but man, do they really hate housewives and wives? I don't get it. But like, don't they want like stay-at-home dads? Like, don't they want kind of like that push? Like, men should want to stay at home if they want to, type of thing, which is weird to like have someone who doesn't want that for one person if it's a value that they don't agree with, but wants it for another one because it's a value that they agree with. Like, that's weird to me. Like, I don't know, maybe someone could explain all of this to me in like some sort of more logical terms, because it doesn't follow. The other thing that I'm just like, I just don't, like, has no one, like, have y'all not, like, watched, like, some of the cool parents who are, like, have their own YouTube channels and do, like, the YouTube shorts and stuff? Like, are you not aware of like some of the cool stuff that's happening within like parents and parenting? Like, there's some like really cool parents out there. Like, like things are really progressive and progressing, and like I would never want like anyone to feel that like they are part of the institution that oppresses them. And, you know, maybe if we gave more social supports to people who wanted to live on one income and support a family, that, like, there would be more social engagement and more, maybe even more political places where people who have traditional values and who want to be traditional wives can like have as a platform. This is equality for all, right? Like, I don't understand. Like, equality for all, except for that bitch. I don't like her. Like, I don't get it. Um, I don't know. Maybe it's something about like being an older academic, I guess, if I'm gonna be an academic. I don't think I'm an academic. I think I'm just a working person. Um, but yeah, it's a weird thing, and like I just really, I don't get it. Like it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't follow logic. If it follows logic for you, please explain it to me, because obviously it does not make any sense to me. And oh my gosh, it's just so weird. Anyway, I hope that that kind of got your gears going, and I will talk with you soon. All right, thanks.